It's our first big cold snap of the season, and it is moving in by Tuesday morning. We're looking at high temperatures for your Monday, still in the mid-70s, but look at the forecast highs up in the upper Midwest. 41 in Chicago, 36 in Minneapolis. It is that cold pocket of air, that big dip in the jet stream that's going to be diving south, cold Canadian air, settling in place, not just across Atlanta, but all across the southeast as we look at the middle of the work week. So we're going to be dealing with our coldest temperatures we've seen since last March. And for many of us, this is going to end the growing season. And tonight, these are already the frost and freeze alerts that we have across the midsection of the country and out towards the east. We have a freeze warning in effect for far north Georgia, where the lows could drop down below the freezing mark. Some even into the upper 20s, I think. And then for Wednesday morning, the extent of the cold gets even colder in terms of parts of the metro. We have a freeze watch in effect for north and western Georgia. So this will not include Cobb, Fulton, and DeKalb and Clayton counties, but it is going to include some of our outlying suburbs, including Douglas, Paulding, out towards Cherokee County and Forsyth as well for Wednesday morning, where we could be flirting with the freezing mark. So we have our first frost and freeze of the season for a lot of North Georgia. Afternoons and mornings, the temperatures will be running about 20 degrees below average for this time of year. That's going to put us into the 50s for highs, and for low temperatures dropping down to the 30s. So when does it arrive? Well, that cold air starts rushing in later on this afternoon. I think we're still going to make it to the 70s. Not quite to the 80s like we did over the weekend, but the gusty winds, you will notice that difference already Monday afternoon. The winds start to pick up after lunchtime. We could have some gusts out of the west-northwest, about 20 to 25 miles per hour. That will be driving in the drop in our temperature. So by the time we fast forward to tomorrow morning, look at what happens to our feels like temperatures. Okay, this is Monday afternoon. 60s and 70s for temperatures. Then by Tuesday morning, those feels like temperatures or wind chills will be dropping down to the 20s and the low 30s across the metro. North Georgia mountains, your actual temperatures will be below freezing, and it's going to be feeling like the low and mid 20s. So good idea to make sure the heaters are working today before the cold air arrives. Feels like temperatures for Tuesday afternoon will go up to the 50s because the actual temperatures will be up in the 50s. And then as we work our way into Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, the wind should be a little bit lighter. The cold really settles into place. And we are going to be starting off with temperatures in the mid 30s, some of us low 30s, and the feels like temperatures just a couple degrees cooler than that. You notice how we stay in the 50s for Wednesday afternoon as well. So we're going to be running 20 degrees below average. These are our coldest temperatures since last March, middle of last March in terms of the lows. And are these records? Well, we'll be close to some of the records. The record for Wednesday, the low temperature record, is 35 degrees. We are forecasting a low of 36 rather, and then for Thursday morning, 36, the forecast low. The record is 34, and that record dates back to 1989 for Thursday. The record for Wednesday morning dates back to 1976. So we're going to be close to some records. The record high as well for Tuesday is 54. We might be warmer than that at midnight tonight. If we're not warmer than that, then Tuesday afternoon will be a struggle to make it above that record minimum high temperature. Now, Wednesday night, Thursday morning. Also Wednesday morning, we have temperatures in the metro down to 36 degrees. If the winds can calm down enough, we'll have our first frost of the season for the metro. You know, we average temperatures this cold generally the first week of November for Atlanta. So we're a little bit above average. Is it the earliest ever? No, but these are kind of some statistics of when do we normally see our first frost? When do we normally see our first freeze? And when do we normally see our first hard freeze for Atlanta? And you notice we're a little bit earlier than that for the frost. I don't think we'll quite get down to the freezing mark in Atlanta, but you know, this is a pretty potent cold snap to where some folks will get down to the freezing mark. So what do you need to do today ahead of it? Well, if you had some leaves you wanted to rake, once we get into the afternoon, the winds start picking up, so that's kind of a loss at this point. But make sure that your heaters are working at your house. Make sure that you've gone through the closets at your house and figured out where the winter coats are. You've probably had those put away since last spring. you will need them the next few mornings. It's not just the mornings, but even in the afternoons, you're going to need, a jacket. It's not just going to be a light sweater kind of day for Tuesday and Wednesday. And also make sure that if your tire pressure light has already gone off, it's going to get even lower with the temperatures dropping. Colder air is more dense, and when the air is warmer, those molecules are more, they're not as tightly packed. So we tend to see when the weather gets cold, a lot of your tire pressure lights go off, so top those off as well. And if you don't like standing outside pumping gas, well, next few mornings, not good mornings to pump gas. You might want to top it off today or wait until tomorrow afternoon. Okay, so we know the cold is coming in, but how long does it last? Well, the core of that cold will last through Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday. But really, as we get into later on Thursday and Friday, some milder air starts to move in. This is our temperature pattern map, which kind of shows not at the surface, but just above the surface, what are the temperatures doing. And you notice here some milder air is working its way in by the end of the week and the weekend. So we're going to see this being a short-lived cold snap. High temperature today, 74. For Tuesday, down to 53. So that's 20 degrees below average and almost 30 degrees colder than where we were over the weekend. Then for Wednesday, upper 50s, low and mid 60s on Thursday, upper 60s for Friday, and we should rebound into the 70s for Saturday and Sunday. So here comes the cold. It is going to be significantly colder than average, our first decent cold snap of the season, but this is not quite pipe bursting cold out there. So buckle up. If you have any tender vegetation, flowers you want to last a little bit longer, bring them inside, cover them up the next few nights.